everyone. Today is April the 7th. Time is now 6:02. We're now ready to begin our regularly scheduled board meeting for the Port Economic Development Corporation. May I have a roll call, please?
Beverly Raymond. Kayla Jacobs. Jerry LaBeouf. Daryl Anderson.
Here.
Morris Albright.
Here.
Ingrid Holmes. Melvin Getwood. You have a quorum, President.
Thank you so much. We stand for the invocation. Ms. Raymond.
Father God, we come once again thanking you for your many blessings. Thank you for allowing us to attend another EDC board member meeting and help us to be about the business. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under liberty and justice for all.
Our minutes from our March.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and second to approve our minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We have petitions and communications. Our first speaker for today will be Mr. Henry Labrie, the owner of Mid-County Plaza LLC. Mr. Labrie, are you here? Okay.
All for your time. I feel like we've jumped a hurdle, set a milestone. We started in trying to purchase property on the 2020 closed on our 5 acres 3 weeks ago. We do have requests for additional 1.22 acres that will be added to that 5-acre tract. And then we also are submitted for an 8.2 acre tract inside Port Arthur Business District. We have another national account that's looking at a 10-acre facility in that project, and then we have another one of our tenants that we have in another building wants a 5-acre that we are relocating them. So today I would like to see if the additional 1.22 acres that we can get purchased, and then the other 8.2, let's get an earnest money contract and stuff on it so we can move forward with those 2 facilities. And then once we get a contract in on the 10-acre facility, we can get that submitted and get that other 10 acres, which is adjacent to the 5 that we just closed, as part of a first right of refusal. So that's what I'm here to ask for today.
Thank you so much for your presentation.
Thank you.
Our next presentation is from Generator 8 program. You here? All right.
Mr. President and board members, Mr. Robert Peroni is traveling right now, and Ms. Prentice Keller is here to present on behalf of Generator tonight. I've asked Generator to come in because, as you know, we have been doing research and planning for our Small Business Resource Center incubator that we are planning for the press building. Generator is a turnkey service that offers business solutions as well as administration for centers such as what we're trying to get to. So I've asked Ms. Keller to come tonight and talk to you all about the benefits of a program such as this one for the community, as well as what Generator can do specifically for us. So with that, I'll turn it over to Ms. Keller.
Thank you so much. Thank you all for your time. It's a pleasure to be here. Prentice Keller. I am from Minneapolis, Minnesota, and Robert is on my team. I'm a partner at Generator. I've been with the firm for 7 years, and I oversee all of our business development and partnership opportunities, both domestically and internationally. So it's a pleasure to be here this evening. And with that being said, I will share a bit more. I appreciate the introduction. Ultimately, what we focus on is being a partner for communities to reinvest into themselves in a meaningful way, focusing on platforms for entrepreneurship, and really taking a meaningful approach to infusing capital and helping just internally grow the communities. So with that being said, oops. Oh, I clicked something, sorry. There we go. Our goal is to be the best partner for a community to invest in its best and brightest. Now, I will go through this quickly and then, of course, not bore anyone and leave time for questions to delve in. So, we started in 2012 in the Wisconsin, Madison, Milwaukee area. Goal was that our founders were seeing a lot of capital being infused to the coasts and not just reinvesting into their own communities. So what we've taken a really clear focus on is investing in those communities that are traditionally underserved by venture dollars and venture funding and wanting to help startups stay where they're at. So it's focusing on retention, it's focusing on local job creation and making sure that talent isn't going elsewhere to get the resources that they need. So we have a heavy concentration in the Midwest and the Southeast, but it has since scaled. I was actually just talking to Jerry about how I was in Saudi Arabia several weeks ago. We have programming there and continue to scale globally in those markets that are really on the precipice of continued growth. So we track our numbers, we focus on follow-on financing, on jobs created, and on the startups that we're able to help grow and scale. And we do this through a funnel-based approach. So at the highest level, we do an G-Alpha program. This is something that's idea stage venture creation. It's helping someone go from an idea to incorporating it. You know, I want to be an entrepreneur, I have ideas, but I don't know how to file, how to set up all of the financial elements, how to really get there. We take them through that step-by-step approach. The goal is that we're creating meaningful businesses that can just compound and help grow and scale these communities. The next phase of that programming is what we call G-Beta. G-Beta is for companies that are a little further down the line and are ready to start really seeking funding. And so we can help communities do that locally by bringing in outside capital and by helping get local groups up and running and investing and such. We then move on to investment-based programs and continued alumni support through the duration of these companies. So just a quick note as it relates to, we track net promoter scores. There are several groups that do what we do, but we've been extremely successful at it in markets outside of those three main ones, the Bostons, the New Yorks, and the San Franciscos. We purposely focus on Beloit, Wisconsin, Birmingham, Alabama, areas that may not always have all of that initial venture funding. So I'll note here, we track a lot of things about intentional investments in our communities. Our stats, as you can see over here, but with 92% outside of those major tech hubs. And then just a variety of things from a platform standpoint. Anyone that's in our network gets access to conference series, all kinds of investor connections, corporate innovation networks. We're connected to 60 different corporates that actually pay us to send them deal flow on a monthly and quarterly basis so that they can get access to it and that they can have a really intentional way of investing in communities that they might not have access to. So it's a really strong relationship there. So my goal this evening would be to hopefully share with you and entice you on programming that we could do in partnership, specifically here in Port Arthur, that could be a part of that space. I was actually previously at WeWork before I was at Generator, if you're familiar with that brand, doing global expansion there. So I have a huge appreciation for invigorating different spaces and having really intentional activations as it relates to events and programming and those pieces and what that can do for driving a community. So I'm going to share a little bit more about some of our programs there, but just talking through G-Alpha, that's that earliest stage. It's something we would definitely propose with like you have Lamar here, that could be a great connectivity piece. We work with colleges and universities very frequently on helping students kind of pull in and get them going on startups as another route for continued growth and entrepreneurship. That's just more information about that G-Alpha program that I mentioned from different things that we do, like ideation, that MVP, we get mentors going, investors, and then there's always a showcase, there's a community element there. We are always tracking the statistics, lots of good things as it relates to timeline and activities. I won't bore you, but we're tracking outcomes, right? We want to make sure that these participants are creating real companies that matter and that last. So of the generator companies that have gone through programming, over 88% of them are still active, and that is very rare in the startup space. So it's very a key testament to how we're working with companies on a consistent basis. G-Beta is that next phase. That's for later stage companies, high growth. We want them to still have those local roots, to be connected locally, but we want them to be able to scale effectively where they're at. So we're doing more things in terms of investor connectivity and really concierge meetings, and then additional timeline and activities I will not bore you with. But of some of these things, just noting it is very real. It's creating a lot of great jobs, having a huge impact on these communities. And then I will share a couple examples and then stop talking here. But things that we're tracking are those dollars raised, the exits that companies are having, jobs that are created in these communities, and it's constantly upticking on a monthly basis. So we love to track that. So as it relates to that funnel, again, the two ones that I was talking about here would be really the earliest stage to get everyone prepared for potential investment and such follow on. I will get back to that, but I wanted to talk quickly about some just case studies. So we've been doing this in Wisconsin for a while, and we've seen a lot of wonderful results as it relates to the follow-on financing, the jobs that we're able to create in these different locations and partnerships that we have, and they're all with groups such as yours, such as cities and like this, where we want to come in and we want to make intentional connections with startups and just an entrepreneurship platform. But the one I wanted to point out was Beloit, Wisconsin. So Beloit specifically has about 35,000 people. We've been running programming there since 2017 in partnership with Hendricks Commercial Properties. And we actually were the first tenants in a co-working space there. So we've been really connecting on how to activate that space, how to do startups there, how to do different showcase events, how to create connectivity pieces. So when they graduate from the program, they want to stay in that space and just creating that livelihood and such. It's worked exceptionally well. So now we've done that in multiple other communities in Lincoln and Omaha, Nebraska, in Huntsville and Birmingham, Alabama. We've done several different places in Idaho now and Anchorage, Alaska. It's a thing that we're really, really intentional about. But I just wanted to share because I had some fun pictures. So we were the first tenants in this building, and now it's really just continued to grow and scale. We do weekly events here. We do different showcases. We're kind of in charge of like making sure that it's always active in a fun way. So whenever we're doing a program, we're hiring somebody that's full-time locally to operate that program. We want that person to be like the startup mayor of that community. That person needs to know anyone and everything, be really connected to the colleges and universities, and just be invigorating it as much as possible. So that was just an example. We have lots of those, lots of great people that we can share with. We like to track dollars invested versus dollars being brought in too. So we're seeing 1 in 50 in Alabama specifically right now, 1 in 25 in that Beloit example I gave, but we see on average about 1 in 30 on the investment front. So I can leave it at that. There's a lot of great examples, a lot of great people, but just a huge pleasure to share, and would love to connect further on this or dive into any additional pieces that may be of interest. So anything that I should touch on that I didn't? I could talk about each one of these things for like an hour, so thank you for humoring my high level going through it. But
I did ask Ms. Keller to keep it at about 5 minutes, so I know we kind of sped through this, but there's a lot to this program that is really good. So if there are any questions that you all have, please ask them. I figured who better to present a program such as this than the experts. So if you've got any questions regarding anything to do with acceleration, business incubation, Ms. Keller can answer that for you.
Pleasure to be here. We've been doing this now since 2012. When I started, we were in 12 communities. We're in 50 communities now, and I've really had the pleasure of working with each one of them. They always looks different. We're always hiring really intentionally different people to make that happen, but we've seen wonderful results from it. It's a really exciting thing.
You say you hire local
Yeah.
to operate.
That's the goal, yes. So every now and then a community actually prefers that we bring someone from outside in, but usually we're hiring locally so that they just know and understand the community in a meaningful way. They're a part of the generator team, right? So we are training them up, we're bringing them out to our different locations, but every time that we're opening a new market, we're opening a new office there. We're hiring somebody locally there. So they're tasked with a lot of KPIs and results that are activating the local groups, but also pulling in our network. So that's really the benefit, right? Groups oftentimes are like, okay, should we do this incubator ourselves or should we work with someone like Generator? Can they help us? We already have this network. We have a CRM that we've been building out for years and years. A company in manufacturing or ag tech could come to us and say, hey, I'm facing X problem. I'm looking for X type of customers or X type of investors. I don't know what to do. That's where we come in. We're like, oh, we got you. We know this guy out in California and this guy in Nebraska. And, oh, here's a great mentor from another program in Alabama. Let's make this all happen in the next several days, right? We expedite everything for these people. But we want to hire locally so that there's that connectivity piece and then just give them the tools to really help grow and scale.
We'd put an office in Port Arthur.
Very much so, yes.
Okay, who would operate that office?
So we would operate it. We would hire somebody to do so, and then our team as well. Yeah.
What would be our expense for that?
So for this expense, we're an all-in annual fee as it relates to the Generator front. So we could do several combinations of programming. It could either be 2 G alphas and 1 G beta a year or 2 G betas a year. And it's a one fee. It's a $350,000 fee on an annual basis. There's no additional fees at all, but that's the salary of those people, all of our support, the activation of that space, the events and such. There's never any additional pieces.
2 companies?
2 cohorts. So when we're talking about cohorts, those are the 7 to 8 week activations that we're doing where we're recruiting for startups. We're selecting them. So ideally we're getting 50 different applicants, and we're going to narrow it down through an interview process to bring them through that really concierge programming. And when they come through, then we take them to that 8-week period. At the end, there's a big community showcase event and such, but there's 5 to 7 companies per cohort. So you're looking at 10 to 14 companies like really worked intensely with on that G beta model if you're just doing that. G alpha, we take up to 30 participants and then help them create companies. Those are much earlier stage. So, maybe if you're looking at this funnel, we make 30 G alpha companies, 4 of them get into G beta as well as a couple additional ones we're able to find. And then we help just continue to grow and scale them. Yeah, absolutely. And I can send the exact metrics on that if that would be helpful, but we're always tracking the amount of people we're able to help with that too. And what I will say is that we make the lunch and learns that we're doing weekly available to the public in all of our cohorts because we want people to have access to those great resources. So maybe we'll do one on marketing, on financing, on the best ways to hire or build a sales team and things like that. And so that material is always open to the public. Maybe people didn't get into a cohort, or maybe they're a brick and mortar, not high growth, which is kind of what we're looking for in the programs. That's okay. We still want to be able to help them. So we make sure that that's a part of the program. And usually we're able to help hundreds of companies through that on an annual basis, just not as catered as those that are coming through the cohort specifically.
So the companies, they go through your program completely at zero cost?
Correct. Yes. Our goal is that it's always free to the companies to join. When you get to our investment accelerator programs, which isn't what I'm presenting here as much, but we do take equity in those companies because we're investing $100,000 in exchange for equity. I think that could be a wonderful thing down the line or in several years. Oftentimes we'll start with earlier stage, and then once we've got a lot of that buzz going, a lot of that invigoration, and then local groups or see what's happening, it's a much larger dollar commitment. That needs at least $1 million, 1.5 a year to operate. So we tend to start there and then scale as such. But I'd say the majority of communities that we're in within 2 to 3 years have this full funnel, have all 3 of the programs. Something I'm really proud of is that of those 50 communities and the time that I've been here, there's been like 2 that have stopped the relationships with us and haven't continued to scale them. And that's been for like high up federal funding elements. It's not because of anything else. The programming keeps scaling because it's working so well, which is so fun to be a part of. That's why I do it. So, questions? Absolutely. Thank you so much for your time, and hopefully we can chat more about it. It's not my last time in Port Arthur, so thank you.
Next, we have a number of communications. So, Mr. Stokes.
Thank you, Mr. President, and good evening, directors.
item 3.a, there was a communique in your book from our legal team, basically giving an overview of their participation going forward. Mr. President, it may be a good opportunity now to allow our new assigned attorney to introduce himself. And so, Stanley, I'll yield the floor to you for a few minutes. You may be on mute.
We can hear you. If you don't mind just speaking up a little louder and raising your volume. I'm going to raise it on this side as well. We hear you, it's just a little low.
Let's see. Can you hear me a little better now?
Yes, we can.
We can, yes.
Okay, good evening, President Anderson and members of the board. My name is Stan Springerly. I'm a senior associate attorney with Navarro. Excuse me, and it's a pleasure and honor to be with you this evening. Just real quickly, my background is in local government law, and I've practiced for 25 years. Grew up in Lufkin, Texas, so I have a little bit of affinity for East Texas. I know you all are in Southeast Texas. But I started off as a paralegal in college there at the city attorney's office in Lufkin, and I've worked for a couple of urban counties and specialize in local government law. So it's a pleasure to meet you, and I look forward to working with you all.
Mr. President, did you want to say anything about the communication?
So as you read through the letter, it's basically saying that we will have an attorney, instead of being present, we'll have one via Zoom in our meetings. And that was something I wanted everybody to take a look at and read and discuss and see how we feel about that moving forward. There's no decision to be made about this at this point, but just have it in hand and know what's being presented to us so we can make some decisions as we move forward, depending on how we all want to address this particular issue. Okay? If you haven't had a chance to peruse that letter, take the discussion about it in the near future. Okay?
The contract that we have, do it states that the attorney has to be present at all our meetings?
I'd have to look at it, I don't know.
So, do you know, Mr. Stokes, anybody?
Not to my knowledge. Stan, do you happen to know that? I don't recall there being that present, but not necessarily in person, but we can double check that.
If there's anything in there, it would be permissive, but not mandatory.
About it? I mean, we will have to come back to this and talk about it, I know. But anything else right now? Sure. Okay. Let's move on to the next communication, please.
Directors, there are a number of communications that are in your book. Primary one I want to highlight is item C, the Jefferson County Commissioners Leadership Breakfast, which is slated for Wednesday, April 23rd. It'll be at 9:45 at the Bauer Civic Center. We will be having a table for that, and pretty soon we'll start to poll you, solicit to see whether or not you'd be able to attend. The hours sometimes can work against if you've got other things going on, but certainly want to make that available to you. So like I say, that's the Jefferson County Commissioners Leadership Breakfast. We happen to have in the audience one of the fine folks that'll be presenting there that morning. And so, like I say, we'll have a table. If you can make it, that would be great. The other items, Item D, the annual Small Business Awards Banquet is coming up on the 29th of this month. It will be at the venue at Bell Oaks up in Beaumont. And of course, that'll be recognizing small business achievement in the Golden Triangle, most specifically Port Arthur. That'll be hosted by Lamar State College, Port Arthur Small Business Development Center. We have the annual spring job fair coming up on the 30th, and although it's a little bit down the line, I did want to just bring to your attention the industry show, which will be in August. There'll be more details on that as we go along, but I did want you to be aware of that date at this point in time. And Mr. President, that goes through the communications.
You saying that you were going to have a table at the Small Business Awards Banquet?
Yes, I'm sorry. No, I did not, but we will. C and D, we will have tables.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. So, any questions about any of that? Okay, so let's move on to the reports, please. CEO report.
Okay. Again, thank you, Mr. President. Directors, I call your attention to the financial report that is in the front sleeve of your board book, if you have not pulled it out. Certainly address any questions that you might have, but just let me touch upon some of the highlights in the report and go from there. In terms of sales tax, well, you may remember that for our budget for this year, we budgeted just shy of $7.5 million. For March, we had just shy of $560,000 come in. Year to date, that puts us at just shy of $3.9 million. So we are tracking positively in terms of our sales tax. And that is remarkable given the hits the economy has had, both locally, statewide, and nationally. But we are tracking to meet what we projected. We had a very good, strong performance in March in terms of revenue. Our year-to-date balance indicates that the majority of the sales tax target, like I say, has been collected, and we just have roughly half left between now and September 30th to collect. So again, on track in terms of overall revenue. Any questions on revenue? Okay, in terms of expenditures, in terms of our regular earnings, we were at $807,840 for budgeted. For March, we actually had actual expenditures of just around $54,000 as shown in your report. Year to date, we're sitting at $336,617 in terms of our regular earnings. Overtime, we have spent hardly any because we are expanding the staff and getting back up to full staffing, which cuts down the need for a lot of overtime and a lot of temporary workers. The other thing that I wanted to highlight in terms of expenditures, all of our budget items, our line items, are tracking very well. We don't have any place where we are over what we projected for this point in the fiscal year, which means that our overall balanced budget should be tracking well as we continue on. I mentioned to you last month that we had kicked off the budget development process for fiscal year 25-26. That is going very well. All things indicate that your first workshop, which is targeted for, I believe in May, if I don't have that in front of me, but I'm pretty sure it's in conjunction with your May meeting, we're on track for that. For the folks in the Finance and Budget Committee, you have a milestone meeting coming up where you'll be presented the preliminary, what I like to call the preliminary budget, but my financial officer doesn't like that, so I'll just stick with preliminary budget. So things are, in terms of the development of the next budget, are tracking very well. Not to get too far ahead, but we will maintain the same focus that we have the previous several years in terms of developing the budget, in that there will not be projected increases. We will simply take whatever we finish this fiscal year with, and that will be the launching point for fiscal year 25-26, as we did with 23-24 and 24-25. With that, I'll entertain any questions that you may have.
Yes, we're $1 million over on this year's budget.
Regrettably, we have to account for the fund balance that hit for the Parks and Rec. If you take that out, then we're on.
Oh, and I understand that.
Yes, sir.
But I'm just going off of what you said. And you said you're going to work out the same numbers for next year. So are you intending to deficit spend for the 3 years?
When we were developing the budget going into this year, we had a number of workshops. Oversight on my part did not include the Parks and Rec at all. And as you know, sir, that hit us in September. Well, going into this next one, we will account for that. So other areas are going to have to be reduced in order to maintain the balanced budget. Yes, sir. Next, I'd like to just give you an update on the downtown revitalization implementation of the City of Port Arthur's downtown revitalization plan. It's a mouthful. The contract with Retail Strategies and their division, Downtown Strategies, kicked off in February. We are now ramping up and getting underway. You will start to see artifacts coming out of that. There's going to be a community survey that will be issued within the next week or two, as well as other aspects. We will be hosting the Downtown Strategies team in a few weeks, and they will actually walk downtown, start to collect, and be able to be the boots on the ground. They have an enormous amount of data that they've collected over the past couple of months, and of course they have the 300-page section of the city's overall master plan, the section dealing with the downtown revitalization, and we are providing them other artifacts that they are taking into consideration. So all in all, with a month and a half roughly into the project, things are starting slow, but going very well. You'll start to hear more information as we start to ramp up that the project is underway. I was requested to give you all an update on our workforce development programs, and so to that end, I'm going to ask our workforce and community development manager to provide you that update of where our programs stand and where they're headed in the near future.
Good evening. I was asked to provide an update on our workforce programs, and the programs are as follows. We do have the Lamar State Port Arthur Scholarship, where we have 10 scholarships. This program is one that is already passed by City Council. We have passed it also by the board. Right now, it has been distributed out to all schools at this time. We do know that this program does take a little bit more time because it requires you to have an essay to go along with it, but at this time, it is at each and every single high school that caters towards Port Arthur residents. The second program, currently right now we do have 2 remaining students left in the scholarship program. One of those students will be graduating at the end of this semester here. The second student didn't come back for their last portion of money because they're only taking 3 classes. However, they did find a job, and I do know this because they called me for a job reference. So that's always good when your students are out there working and they feel comfortable enough to use you to be a job reference. We're looking at the youth employment program. The youth employment program has been receiving receiving applications. We've received 5 applications. This program, too, has also been distributed to all the high schools in the area. We are still looking at a May 2nd deadline for each of those applications to come in. Shortly afterwards, we'll assemble a board, and that board will do the selection process. I have also located and identified several businesses that have already showed interest and also partnership with this program to ensure that we're aligning students with the actual career fields that they're in. As we go forth, the CDO program right now is currently under the new contract as of April 1st. So we just got through wrapping up the final contract. They are providing me an audit to close out the fiscal year for the last contract. I should have that in hands on the 15th. Currently right now, we do have a Class A program that just started tonight. We have 7 students that are enrolled in this program, and they are loading up classes for the Class B program that's coming up here shortly. We still have them contracted. This is our final year on that contract. And so the contract, like I said, it just began this month. The other programs that we're looking to bring on are going to involve Lamar Institute of Technology, which is going to be the fire program as well as the police academy program. We do know that the police academy program was a program that was once in existence. With that program, it's quite different from the fire department program. So what I've had to do is actually pull those documentations, actually look at some of the issues that I heard about the program, which were the clawback problems, as well as ensuring that we can keep police officers staying on the force for 2 years. So we are looking at those programs. I also did find out that the police department gets an actual cheaper rate than what we were paying prior to. Matter of fact, it's a matter of hundreds compared to thousands. The Fire Academy program, we have had meetings on that as well, and they are looking to answer some questions with their union before we can proceed with that, but you should be seeing a proposal for both of these programs here in the next couple of months. Looking at proposed programs, of course, we're looking to expand out the nursing program. The nursing program, currently, we do have a scholarship under the Lamar State Port Arthur scholarship programs. We have talked to several different entities in nursing in our area to ensure that we are providing a pipeline for students to actually be able to obtain different levels of nursing, and that way it puts them into the workplace. Other programs that we're looking at is the machinist training and the water treatment training. We had a meeting with the City of Houston, and the City of Houston did let us know that there is a demand for machinists out there. And so I've already started talking with Lamar State Port Arthur about implementing this type of program, expanding this type of program, and the second part of that would have been the water program, because we know that we have positions right now that have been vacant for over 3 years due to not having the proper certifications. And so we're looking at that from all the way from the high school level to the college level. I am working very closely with the Regional Texas Workforce Commission, so the funding won't all come from our pocket. They actually have funding that's going to be provided, and so we have had meetings with the college as well as with the ISD and as well as with Texas Workforce. We do have the LNG. LNG is now calling to actually get their permanent workers. They're getting past the construction phase at this point. And so with that, they already have courses that are already being built. They have a actual council that sits there at the LNG. We're looking at seeing if we can do pretty much the similar thing that we're doing with the CDO program, and making sure that we can actually put Port Arthur residents into those programs, because we know that that is an on-demand training, which means LNG is already identifying the positions that they need. And so as those students get trained, they'll go directly into the workforce. And of course, expanding out on our CTE program. We are looking at now expanding into the middle school, so we have a program called Future Force. This Future Force is going to be an alignment of industry as well as education. We believe that we can train students for a certain level, but are we training them to be advanced in that level? We know that most companies that come into a city typically look at what type of CTE programs are being offered at the middle school level. They want to know if they're getting ready to build infrastructure here, if they're getting ready to build industry here, are we having training that's going to be productive for them 10 years down the line? And so we're looking at expanding that out. We've also looked at the bond that PAISD is proposing. We think that it'd be a very good complement to what we're already trying to do with this program in order to get them started, as well as continue the pipeline from middle school all the way through college. And of course, looking at classes in cybersecurity, and we've already talked about the nursing program. Are there any questions?
So regarding
the scholarships. The last time we spoke of putting a committee, have a committee been put in place for scholarships, for high school scholarships?
The selection board has not been selected for the scholarships quite as yet. We will make that selection here. We'll be putting out a call for that in the next few weeks. The applications are due in on the 2nd, and then we'll be forming a committee shortly after that.
Usually, at the time when we spoke about it, we asked that board members be included in that selection process.
Right.
That's how we've done in the past.
In the proper, yes. So we've been did that as well. That information, that correspondence will come through the proper channels to let the board know that we are also seeking members for you all to be on the board for the scholarship as well as the scholarship package.
Nursing program. How long has it been since we had the nursing program? Because we've been here, we've been trying to get someone to teach, be an instructor for our nursing program, and it would have been a year now, and we still have not found anyone in the mall, anywhere in the area, to help with our nursing program.
To my understanding, I didn't know that we couldn't find an instructor for the program. I do know that Lamar State Port Arthur does have a nursing program on different levels. Lamar Institute does as well. And I do know that some of the CTE programs do offer a nursing portion as well. To the level is what we're looking at. How, if someone wants to just get a LVN or a different type of certification, what's the best place to put them? We don't want to put 10 nursing students all at Lamar State Port Arthur, when in all realities, some of them have already gained that at high school and now should be over at Lamar College instead doing nursing. And so it's just a matter of looking at the different nursing programs in the area and ensuring that we're able to disseminate our students to those different areas.
We did have instructors, so now we're going through Lamar for our nursing program.
Yes, ma'am.
Instead of getting an instructor. Okay.
To my knowledge, I've never known them to say that they had a shortage of instructors. I've talked to the folks at the college, I've talked to the folks at...
I'm speaking of EDC, we had our own instructor. Am I correct, Crystal? You never had an instructor?
No, we had a contractor.
Right, contract.
There was a contractor that was contracted.
That taught the nurses.
Correct, and I've seen their contract. That contract has expired, so I have seen that contract. What we're looking at is to see what other programs are offering which other programs. If it's one of those programs where we have multiple companies that are offering that same program, then it might be a consideration for RFP for that situation in there.
It's a new program. All the letters have been sent to all schools in the area.
All schools, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Granger. Next item in my report. Last month, I went over my high-level organizational goals for 2025. One of the things I noted was as it related to the entrepreneurship and small business program. Let me just reiterate that our goal is to have a soft launch by no later than November 30th of this year, and a hard official launch in January of the new year. So again, I mentioned it to you last time, but I thought given that we were having a presentation connected to small business, that I would reiterate that again. And then lastly, in my report, staffing update. Deputy Mueller and I continue to make progress in reviewing candidates for the Marketing and Insights Manager position, and we'll continue to drive that. And I mentioned to you last month that my goal was to have that person in place no later than June. That is still the target that we're shooting for. Other than that, the most important and exciting thing in terms of staffing that has occurred recently is that Ms. Saudi Garcia is now a permanent member of the Port Arthur Economic Development Corporation, and we are very, very, very thrilled to have her on board. With that, Mr. President, that finishes my report.
I have one question regarding the entrepreneurship. You mentioned that you're going to implement a soft launch in November. Yeah. Could you explain to me exactly what that entails?
Certainly. The difference between the soft and the hard is that hard, you're actually cutting ribbon, starting to let people come in, and you're taking applications. Soft launch is that we're just going to be letting the world know that we're coming. making sure that everything is in place, making sure that we are getting the word out on the streets, but that we are not at that point taking in folks. We're starting to collect the applications for folks to be in. Between November and January, we'll actually vet those folks, and by the time we do the hard launch, that is when entrepreneurs are actually in the building. That's the subtle difference.
Any other questions? Moving on to unfinished business, to discuss and consider approval of proposed PAEDC Code of Ethics. May I have a motion, please?
Move.
Second.
It's been moved and second. Mr. Stokes, what you got there?
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm going to lean on Stanley a little bit for this, but just at a high level, on Friday, I believe it was, I distributed by way of Attorney Zek the results of the research that he was asked to perform as it relates to the section on complaints. That was specifically a request of Director Albright. So what is in your packet is the results, the write-up that he is suggesting, and as I mentioned to you when it was distributed, his suggestion is that can be used as is, and therefore the overall code of ethics updated to include that new verbiage, or if you want changes to what he put together, those can be offered, that'll be redlined, and he will then provide a new update to that section. And that was the only section from last month that he was asked to address any potential changes.
Questions?
One question. The code of ethics is in our policies and procedures, meaning we're not in the bylaws?
No, ma'am. As a matter of fact, you specifically requested that it be in the bylaws, so that's what Attorney Zek has been operating under.
Any questions? All in favor?
Call a roll call vote, because you have to have more than a majority to amend anything on the bylaws. It can't be majority, it has to be at least 5 board members. The majority, more than majority, to make any amendments to the bylaws, and the code of ethics is in the bylaws. So because of that, I call roll call vote.
Call for roll call.
Beverly Raymond? Jerry LaBeouf? No. Darrell Anderson?
Yes.
Horace Albright?
Yes.
Ingrid Holmes?
Yes.
Robin Getwin?
Yes.
That is 4-2.
Motion fails because we need to have more than the majority based on what Ms. Raymond said. Okay, so the motion will fail. I don't have that paper in mind. I'm not sure of that. So, Attorney, are you aware of that?
That was good.
I don't have any note that indicates there's a supermajority vote required here. So I'm going to have to research that and confirm if that is correct for this particular body.
You can look at it when you get an opportunity to investigate. It comes in the amendments of bylaws. There is section, no, it's not there. 15.09.
Attorney, were you
And just to be clear, you're citing the current bylaws, is that correct?
Yes. They're amended to the bylaws. So the Code of Ethics is being, I think, changed from the City of Port Arthur Code of Ethics, except for the ones we already placed in our bylaws, Code of Ethics bylaws. That was dated April 2022. But they want to change it to the one that is used by the City of Port Arthur.
Mr. President, so that Attorney Stanley would have direction, perhaps if the board could let him know what it is that they want changed that would lead to not voting for it, so that he, as a part of his research, can be updating it based on you all's desired changes.
Okay, so I guess the question here is then, what's wrong with the ones that we're trying to present, or you just don't want to change them?
With the ones, and no one never gave me an answer of what was wrong with the Code of Ethics that we already have in our bylaws. What's the reason for the change? I have not received an answer on that.
So let's just move on from this. The motion fails. We'll just move on. The next on the agenda is the non-consent agenda item to discuss possible procurement of security guard services for the press building. May I have a motion, please?
Okay.
Moving in second. Crystal, you gonna handle it?
Yes, sir. Ms. Garcia is passing out a memo to each of you. On this memo, it does reflect approximate pricing that I've estimated, as you all requested at your last board meeting, to get pricing so that we can know what that looks like for security guard services over at the press building. There's pricing there for armed and unarmed security guard services. That is, again, approximate pricing for at an annual cost, and then you'll see there an additional cost for holiday pay. So if this is something that the board wishes to incorporate, my recommendation is that we budget for this in the next fiscal year. As you saw in your report from the Port Arthur Police Department that provided a report for us, they recommended this once the building ramps up some more, we have more movement. So at this time, it's not really needed, but if you all would like to consider this, I would suggest doing it during the next budget cycle. And I would also recommend that we take a look at our common area maintenance costs and incorporate that cost and share it amongst the tenants in the building.
A question, I wasn't at the last meeting due to spring break, but anyway, what happened to the buzzer? I think Dr. Getwood had mentioned at one of the meetings that we can place the buzzer at the assigned door. I understand there's one assigned door that everyone will be going through. So you want to have, how many tenants do we have right now at the press building?
15.
15. So what happened to this using the buzzer? Door lock. And the person sitting at the desk. I think we have a security guard there now, right?
Ma'am, there is no security guard.
Deputy Miller, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that that was a part of the analysis that the police department did, which was included in the report provided last month. Correct me if I'm misremembering.
Is correct. Ms. Raymond, we did provide the board, I think 2 meetings ago, requested some type of law enforcement to do an assessment of the security of the building, which we had the Port Arthur And you've got the report, great, okay. So part of that report there, the recommendation was not to have access to that door that is adjacent. So we've since put up signage that directs people to the front door, which right now that would be the only point of entry.
And you say the point of entry is not secure.
It's not secured by a security guard, but we do have staff that is, we have a location for a receptionist that will be added here shortly. And then we've got 2 other EDC staff members that are there near that front door.
Near the front door.
Raymond, use the microphone, please. Okay. Anything else? Anyone else?
I would like to just make the recommendation that this be considered for our next meeting. I think it's important if we're going to have security at a facility that does not have a financial institution, we certainly need to have some at a facility that does. I'm sorry, in the next budget. Are we ready for?
Yes, we're ready. Yes,
I'd like to move that we consider this for the next budget, that we have security at the press building.
Second.
Moved and second that we move forward with putting a security guard. We're going to go armed or unarmed? Armed security guard in the press building for the next fiscal year budget. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Crystal. All right. We're going to move agenda item number 2 to executive session. So we'll take now agenda item number 3, to review, discuss, and possible action on a corporation revised proposed bylaws, code of ethics, and the Board of Directors Policy and Procedure Manual, requesting City Council's approval of the same.
Make a motion to table.
Mr. President, I was going to mention that it's dependent upon the code of ethics, so you can table it.
All right, agenda item number 4. We're going to view and discuss and possible action regarding section 8.18, voting action of a board of directors. Directors must be present in order to vote at any meeting as outlined by the PAEDC bylaws dated April 4th, 2022, requested by Director LeBeau. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
It's been moved and second. Mr. LeBeau. Okay.
Yeah, well, there are a couple items that was voted
Use your mic.
on. Items that was voted on last meeting by Zoom, and I don't think that was correct. Shouldn't have been by Zoom. You have to be present.
So we're going to ask the attorney, can you address that, please?
Sure, well, if there's any concern about voting without the proper procedures being followed, including advance notice and some of the criteria would have been met that you did have a quorum physically present, but the advance notice may have not been provided. If there is a concern of any of these items that were voted on, you can always come back and ratify them if necessary, but it may be moot if it was just receiving reports, things like that. If there's something substantive you need to make sure is properly voted on, then my recommendation would just to ratify.
So the question is, just to be completely clear, can a person vote via Zoom or not?
If certain criteria is met, and that includes advance notice, having the presiding officer present, having an excuse, and having a quorum physically present at the meeting.
Can I add to that? It's okay? Okay. According, I read, I'm sorry if I read, but according to the bylaws.
But we're talking about bylaws and laws at the same time.
Okay, I understand that.
One supersedes.
Okay, bylaws,
Okay, all right. Go ahead.
Attorney, that the bylaw supersedes, because the bylaw states you have to be present. I think the language just needs to be changed. I'm not taking away what occurred. It did occur in violation of the bylaws, but I think if we change the language, because times have changed, but we have Zoom now. So I don't have no problem with what occurred. We need to look at changing the language.
Vote on these ones.
We definitely, we need to be clear on whether there was a violation or not. So, I'm not trying to put you on the spot, Mr. Attorney, so maybe you need to come back with some information for us. Now, we know our bylaws state that someone must be present, but we also know that currently you're able to attend meetings via Zoom. What we need to know definitively, can someone vote via Zoom and it be valid? We need to get an answer to that, like.
Yes, there's a couple different things going on. There's the Open Meetings Act in the government code, and then there's your own bylaws and your own rules. Just from the information that I've been provided, and I wasn't present at the last meeting, if all of the requirements weren't met and your bylaws prohibit that, then yes, then there would be an issue. And again, if there's any concern about items that have been voted on going forward, if the majority of the board desires to clarify that, then it can ratify those votes and clean up that issue, and then going forward, try to avoid having that problem again.
Mr. President and Directors, just one thing that I would add to that, Attorney Zach did direct us to add to the agenda postings the notice that you see at the bottom of page 3. What I will humbly suggest is that a variation of that be added to the updated bylaws. It'll just be general date. Obviously on this, we knew a specific date. But if that language is acceptable to you all, like I say, it was provided to us by Attorney Zach in accordance with current state and federal laws, then we'll just put a variation of that in the proposed bylaws and bring that back to you.
Thank you. We'll look at getting some of those things updated. And if there's anything we need to deal with as far as those things that we're voting on, we'll take care of those as well. And definitely, Mr. Attorney, I'm going to communicate with you just off the camera because I didn't get the answer I was looking for definitively, but that's fine. I do get it. There's a lot going on, a lot of moving parts, but we'll get a definitive answer on that question, but we're not going to prolong this meeting. At this time, closed meeting or executive session will be held pursuant to the following sections of the Chapter 551 Government Code. Section 071 to consult with the attorney. Section 074 to discuss personnel matters. Let's adjourn to executive session.
Beverly Raymond. Jerry LaBeouf. Daryl Anderson.
Here.
Morris Albright. Ingrid Holmes. And Melvin Gitwood. You have a quorum.
We have one motion coming out of executive session for, let's see. Agenda item number 2, discuss and possible consideration of an economic development performance agreement with CGLR Properties LLC. May I have a motion, please?
Make a motion.
Okay.
It's been moved and second. So in discussion, and I don't have my paperwork, I'm sorry. In discussion, we decided to go with the contract that our attorney put together for this particular project for the name again, for CGLR properties. So we're going to vote on that particular agreement. So all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Do we have any future agenda item request?
I have one. Clear my eyes here. Based on the letter that we received from the attorney today, Zach, I'd like to review, discuss, and possible actions to terminate EDC's attorney's contract.
Any other items, future? Go ahead.
Director LeBarge is forgetting one, ratification from last month. You wanted the items re-ratified due to the Zoom matter?
All the things that were voted on last month, you wanted up for
Unless you
reconsideration.
changed your mind, sir.
No, I didn't change my mind. You know which,
It's-
it'll be in a minute, so that's next month, though, right? Okay, good.
Any other future agenda items? All right, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Been moved and second, all in favor? See y'all next month.